organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up tonight on Daily Iowan TV, a study at the University of Iowa highlights the effects of exhaustion behind the wheel.
And we give you an inside look at the homecoming court process.
All the talk in sports has been surrounded by soccer, volleyball, field hockey, and especially football.
But that's all about to change coming up in sports.
All that and more coming your way.
You're watching Daily Iowan TV. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Jeremy Meyer.
And I'm Megan Sanchez.
We come to you tonight with a development in the controversy over the new University of Iowa president, Bruce Harold. The American Association of University Professors is responding to a request from the UI chapter to investigate the Presidential Search Committee. The investigation will assess whether the search process and final decision was fair. 2 representatives from the AAUP will be visiting campus on October 16th and 17th. Now, when the investigation is complete, the AAUP has the power to issue a censure on the UI or the Board of Regents, which would label the college as having an administration that cannot be trusted.
A Northeast Iowa zoo is facing a federal lawsuit after reports surfaced of exotic animals living in poor conditions. Cricket Hollow Zoo in Manchester, Iowa, has been sued by several Iowan residents as well as the Animal Legal Defense Fund. The lawsuit alleges the zoo's lions, tigers, gray wolves, and lemurs are all living in physical and mental distress. At least 5 lemurs have died at the zoo since 2006. The plaintiffs are seeking to keep the zoo from possessing endangered species like these animals.
Well, it's homecoming week here at the University of Iowa, meaning all week students are participating in different events around campus. One of the main highlights of the festivities is the unveiling of the homecoming king and queen. The king and queen represent the student body, but students don't necessarily have a say in that decision. Austin Love has more.
Walking around campus on homecoming week, it feels a little different.
This week is crazy.
2 big signs you can't miss in the Pentecrest, activities every day to promote Hawkeye's spirit, but mostly what's different is the crowning of the king and queen. Students don't have an input.
The students don't vote on it at all?
No, they don't. Instead, there's an application process looking at your academics and campus involvement, a series of interviews, and a final vote between the homecoming council. With all those components, this isn't your stereotypical homecoming selection.
It isn't a popularity contest. They look at who you are, the things you've done. But then also I think something that's lacking is the chance for students to have an input.
Something students agree with.
I think if the people are representing our class, then our class should be voting on it.
It takes away from what their goal is for homecoming week. Like, I mean, if you're trying to get students involved and like everyone excited about it, like what student body is going to be excited about homecoming king and queen if they're not even taking part in the process?
By going through this process, the homecoming council is able to really pinpoint the best candidate.
I think there should be at least some student input, but I think the judges kind of take the bias out of just friends voting for friends.
The number one thing with homecoming is passion. The students who are really passionate end up doing the best work, and that's why we really want to find those people who have that fire and who have that passion for the university.
Something that hasn't failed them yet. Happy homecoming, Iowa City. I'm Austin Love, Daily Iowan TV.
Now, Megan, it may be October, but it feels like summer on campus. Temperatures were in the 70s today.
Absolutely. It was an extremely warm day. Let's toss it over to Afe Ironrow in the weather studio to see if this weather will continue. Afe?
Fortunately, the nice weather will stay for the rest of the week and will be beautiful on Saturday. But first, let's have a look at what we have in store for Thursday. Thursday morning will start off at 59 degrees with partly cloudy skies as the day progresses. Expect 77 degrees in the afternoon. In the evening, temperatures will drop down just a little bit to 66. For those planning to attend the homecoming parade, move off. Temperatures look pretty nice with a high of 63 degrees and a low of 4. In the homecoming game, expect temperatures to be at 70 degrees and a low of 53. For Sunday, temperatures will be in the 80s. That's all I have here at the studio. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Afe. On Tuesday, a U.S. attorney announced charges against 4 former prison guards at the Anamosa Security Penitentiary in eastern Iowa. The charges include use of illegal drugs while armed at work and smuggling cell phones to inmates. The U.S. attorney said Garrett Barton, Marquise Marland, Ethan Darrow, and Seth Vogel are charged in connection with this activity. A 5th offender, Samuel Foster, who is not an employee at the prison, is currently detained for conspiracy of selling these drugs to the officers. All 4 officers are scheduled to plead guilty for the offenses.
On Wednesday, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry was awarded to Thomas Lindell, Paul Modric, and U.S. Turkish scientist Aziz Sankar for their study of DNA repair. Beginning their work in the 1970s, the trio discovered how cells repair damaged DNA. The work of the prize winners has answered the very puzzling questions on how genetic material is damaged and repaired within the human body.
For some, walking on a glass walkway might be terrifying, but it's really terrifying if you step on a crack while suspended over a canyon. Just 2 weeks after its opening, a walkway in a park in China was closed after a crack on its glass walkway was reported. The walkway spans 260 meters, has a 68-meter glass bottom, and hangs over 1,000 meters above sea level. This made it a pretty scary experience for park visitors who experienced that crack. Thankfully, no visitors were injured. The park will remain closed until the broken panel is replaced.
Drowsy driving might not seem like a big deal, but new UI research has shown the potential hazards. The UI is 7 weeks into the fall semester, and students are amid midterm exams, which means possibly studying for several hours without much sleep. Daily Iowan's Bobby Wong-Kamalasai has the story.
Okay, we're now going to go inside the NADS 1 simulator.
The National Advanced Driving Simulator, or NADS for short, recently studied the effects of staying up for long periods of time and then sending their test subjects on an hour-long drive in the NADS 1 simulator.
The most prevalent behavior was drowsiness-related lane departures, where people during what's called a microsleep, which is kind of that feeling of nodding off when you're very drowsy.
The research center simulates real-life driving situations without putting anyone's life in actual danger.
We see people tend to drift out of their lanes. We had at least, I think, 3 or 4 drivers drift entirely out of their lane and almost into the ditch.
The University of Iowa researchers hold one simulator, while Toyota has the other in Japan. NADS focuses on connecting the driver to the vehicle and essentially everything that could happen while operating a vehicle. Iowa researchers developed the software the simulator runs on while running and collecting the data that comes from the driving research projects.
In the recent years, NADS funding has been about 50-50 between public and private sectors. And so we work with car companies, we work with companies that make parts for car companies or that make aftermarket devices that go in our vehicles.
They study effects from drugs and alcohol, distractions both in and out of the car while driving, such as cell phones or pedestrians, and of course, drowsiness and fatigue.
UI students who drive to campus need to be aware of the conditions they put themselves in before getting behind the wheel. Levels of drowsiness come in spurts, so students don't realize how tired they really are after studying. This is Bobby Wong-Kamalasai, Daily Iowan TV.
Thanks for that, Bobby. You know, Jeremy, 5-0 looks pretty good on those Iowa Hawkeyes.
Pretty good start for the football team. Men's basketball with their media day today. All that and more in the sports studio. Let's toss it over to Jordan and Taylor standing by. Guys?
Thanks, Megan and Jeremy. As our focus so far this year has been strictly on the fall sports, we switch gears a little bit this Wednesday.
Basketball season is approaching quickly, and Taylor Brooks got the latest from the Iowa men's basketball head coach Fran McCaffrey and the squad. We'll get to them later, but now we head to the soccer field.
Iowa men's soccer team faced several challenges this season, from a younger team to a few injuries.
One player is not giving up and has pushed through, coming out stronger than before. Soccer reporter Katie Reber tells us more.
Iowa Soccer's Rose Ripslinger began this season recovering from a knee injury.
In the midst of an inter squad, she was doing very well and showing some of the potential that we thought she was going to have, and unfortunately she cut one way and her knee went the other.
And I kind of felt a pop, and I was also in excruciating pain.
But according to Rose,
everything happens for a reason.
Maybe this is just part of the plan.
Through this adversity, an important lesson was learned.
I learned very quickly that You have to be positive.
Try to look at it as a positive.
Perhaps the most positive encouragement was coming from the sidelines.
To be a good support group for one another, and that we tried to do that last year.
Great support group, my trainer and all the other girls who tore their ACLs last year.
Kicking things back into gear, Rose was mentally and physically focused in returning to the field.
Just mentally trying to get more confident on and off the ball with my fitness.
However, returning to this highly competitive game called for slow and steady preparation.
We're just trying baby steps, baby steps to try to get her back to where she was.
The first 2 weeks I was in, I just conditioned. I didn't do any soccer really, a little bit of technical work.
All of that hard work paid off as Ripslinger was able to return to the field this season.
It was exactly what I'd been waiting for so long. It was just exciting, exhilarating, and I've had a lot of competitivity built up, and it was good to kind of let it out on the field.
Just to see her get back and be able to put on the jersey and play for the school that she committed to was really uplifting to see.
This has been Katie Reber, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Now number 15 is setting pace in her return to the team as Ripslinger pushes toward her full recovery from her spring injury.
The team faces Wisconsin on Thursday night at the Iowa Soccer Complex right here in Iowa City.
Conference schedule for soccer has been difficult so far this season, and that stays true for Iowa volleyball as well.
But head coach Bon Szymanski and his team don't seem to be giving up at all.
There's still plenty of season left to go, and I dug into how the back row of this team has played with the right composure. When most people think about volleyball, they think about one thing, the kills. That powerhouse front row catches the audience eye, but without someone to set up the base of that hit, points would be lost. The Iowa women's volleyball back row works hard in practice and in games to make sure they're sending the perfect defensive pass to set up the offense and snatch the point.
So we have to get a good pass to start our offense, to get the game going. And so our position is very a must thing, but that's the mentality we have to have, so it's a good challenge.
Though back row players might not get as much glory as the front row players do, they still play a crucial role in the team's success. I decided I should put myself in their shoes for a bit to see what it's like digging up some hardcore hits. And as you can see, I found out that it's clearly a lot harder than it looks. But even when I wasn't playing up to par, they still made me feel like I was doing my best, which is something that's crucial for the players during game time.
The other thing actually that we talk a lot about is their court presence and demeanor. A lot of the non-volleyball stuff and the energy and the intensity that they're going to bring.
As they go through practice and work on game time situations, it's clear that their hard work pays off in big ways.
When our front row gets like a bang kill, I'll just say to one of our defensive players that made the pass, I was like, that's your kill. That's your kill, because you passed that ball perfect to the setter and she was able to deliver it, get our hitter open, and she took care of it.
And to the ladies of the back row, it's not about the glory, but rather helping their team to victory.
I think it's definitely just have to be mentally focused, because you're not really the person who's getting the big kill, so you just have to realize and remember that what you're doing does make a difference, and it's a huge part of the game.
From Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hannah Thompson, Daily Iowan TV Sports. The ladies take on Michigan and Michigan State within the next couple of days, so they're really amping up their Big Ten match play.
They definitely still have a chance to turn this season around, and they seem to have the right attitude.
Absolutely, and speaking of the right attitude, there seems to be a completely different Iowa men's basketball team that will be making their appearance inside Carver Hawkeye Arena in just a short month. Taylor Brooks was at Carver earlier and tells us how the team could be completely different compared to last year.
Thanks, Jordan and Hannah. The Iowa men's basketball team still has a while until they step onto the court at Carver Hawkeye Arena, but their first practices have just begun. The team returns 4 starters, making this team very experienced. But there are also 10 players who are sophomores or less, so those players have the opportunity to step up.
You do feel good. Like you said, we've got experience, we've got 4 starters back. I almost consider Clemens a starter because he started half the time, so maybe we have 5. But after that, there's very little experience.
Yeah, 4 seniors, they've been great leaders. Chemistry is great. The newcomers, we all been great off and on the court.
So we've made a lot of steps. Each and every year we keep getting better, and we're looking to continue the trend. We're really looking to make another jump this year, and we feel like we have the team to do so.
The group thing this year, it's always everybody doing their part to lead the team. Everybody on the team is a leader in one way or the other.
I'm confident in my skill set, and I'm confident in my teammates, and I think the coaches did a good job of recruiting guys that really meshed well together. And I mean, I think that we can pick up the load and maybe even keep it going in a bigger and better direction. And I know these guys are going to end it off with a bang this season for sure.
Stick with Daily Iowan TV Sports as we travel to Big Ten Basketball Media Days next week in Rosemont, Illinois, where all the Big Ten coaches and selective players dish out what this season might entail. Inside Carver Hawkeye Arena, this has been Taylor Brooks for Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Thanks for that, Taylor. Unfortunately, we're out of time this Wednesday night.
But meet us right back here Thursday night as our pregame crew is back and ready to break down Week 6 for Iowa football.
That's all we have for you tonight on Daily Iowan TV.
Be sure to check out our website, dailyiowan.com, for the most up-to-date news. Daily Iowan TV, I'm Jeremy Meyer.
And I'm Megan Sanchez. Go Hawks, and good night.